No one ever noticed Mr. Raymond Clark. He mopped the same hallways every night, emptied the same trash cans, and fixed the same squeaky doors at Roosevelt High School in Chicago. Most students barely acknowledged him. Teachers gave him polite nods. To the world, he was just the janitor. But behind that old gray uniform and quiet nature was a man with a secret. A mind once filled with equations, theories, and dreams, all of which he had buried long ago. Raymond had once been a rising math prodigy. He had been accepted into MIT in the late 90s, but life, like it so often does, took an unexpected turn. His father died suddenly. His mother fell sick. With no siblings and no money, Raymond left his dreams behind and took a job at a local grocery store. One small choice at the time, yet it changed everything. Now, at 47, he scrubbed chalk off whiteboards instead of writing on them. One cold Thursday evening, he walked into room 304, the advanced mathematics class. The students had just left, and the room was silent. But something on the board caught his eye. It was a problem from the Clay Mathematics Institute. A $1 million challenge. Just for fun, the teacher had written it on the board, telling students, "If anyone solves this, you'll go down in history." Raymond stared at it. His heart thudded. Something inside him stirred. A piece of himself he thought had died. He pulled out an old notepad he kept in his back pocket. Slowly, nervously, he began scribbling. Over the next few weeks, something changed. He cleaned faster, so he could spend more time in room 304. He studied quietly in corners, worked on equations in the janitor's closet, and even reread dusty old textbooks he rescued from the trash. At night, he'd go home to his tiny apartment, filled with broken appliances and unpaid bills, and work until his hands ached. Nobody knew. Nobody noticed. Until one evening, Mr. Daniels, the math teacher, returned to his classroom, forgetting his laptop. He opened the door and froze. There was Raymond, erasing part of the problem and rewriting it with elegant, flowing math. At first, Mr. Daniels thought it was a joke, but the equations were precise, beyond anything he had seen from his top students. He watched quietly from the door for 15 minutes. Finally, he cleared his throat. Raymond turned in shock, caught mid-scribble. I was just cleaning the board." But Daniels wasn't angry. He stepped inside, stunned. "Where did you learn that math?" Raymond didn't answer, just looked down at his shoes. Mr. Daniels invited him to sit and explain. What followed was a 2-hour discussion that left the teacher speechless. He knew brilliance when he saw it. By the end of the week, Daniels brought in Dr. Elaine Monroe, a math professor at the University of Chicago. She grilled Raymond with complex questions. He answered each one, sometimes nervously, but always correctly. By the end, she leaned back in her chair. "He's not just smart. He's gifted." Word spread fast. Within a month, Raymond was flown out to the Clay Institute in Boston to present his approach to solving the Navier-Stokes existence and smoothness problem, one of the 7 unsolved Millennium Prize problems. He walked into a room filled with world-renowned mathematicians in a second-hand suit, carrying nothing but a notepad and a pen. But when he spoke, the room fell silent. His proof was unconventional, raw, but brilliant. And it worked. The announcement stunned the world. Chicago janitor solves $1 million math problem. Headlines flooded the internet. TV shows begged for interviews. Podcasts, universities, and journalists wanted to know, who was this man the world had overlooked? But Raymond never let it change him. He donated half his prize money to Roosevelt High to build a new math lab. He used the rest to care for his aging mother and finally fixed the roof in their old home. When asked by a journalist, how did a janitor solve something the world's best minds couldn't? He smiled and said quietly, "Just because someone mops floors doesn't mean they stop dreaming." That year, Roosevelt High saw a 300% rise in students joining math clubs. A scholarship was launched in Raymond's name. But more importantly, students stopped walking past janitors. They stopped judging people by their job titles. Because Raymond Clark proved something powerful. Brilliance isn't always dressed in suits. Sometimes it wears old boots and carries a mop. And from that day forward, the world never looked at just a janitor the same way again.